retirement was supposed to be my reward, a time to relax, travel, and enjoy life without stress. I thought I had planned wisely. I sold my home, downsized, and believed my savings would last. At first, everything felt perfect, no responsibilities, no worries. But I quickly realized that the reality of retirement isn't always what we expect. Expenses rose, my safety net shrank, and I found myself in a situation I never anticipated. Before you make the same mistake, hear my story, because once you sell everything, going back may not be an option. Before we go any further, I want you to pause and think about your own retirement plans. Have you considered the long-term consequences of selling your home? Are you certain that your savings will last as long as you need them to? If you're not 100% sure, then this message is for you. The decisions you make today will shape the rest of your life, and once they're made, there may be no turning back. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could save you from making a mistake you can't undo. And if you find this insight valuable, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Your support helps keep these important conversations going, because the more we talk about it, the more people we can help. At first, retirement felt like everything I had dreamed of. After decades of hard work, I was finally free. No more early mornings, stressful deadlines, or long commutes, just quiet mornings, leisurely afternoons, and time to enjoy life. I had planned for this. I sold my home, downsized my belongings, and moved to a smaller, easier to manage place. My pension, Social Security, and savings made me feel financially secure, and I believed I had enough to last. The first few months were wonderful. I traveled, dined at nice restaurants, and treated myself in ways I had never been able to before. After all, wasn't this what retirement was all about? I felt relieved to be free from the responsibilities of homeownership. No more property taxes, expensive repairs, or unexpected maintenance costs. Renting seemed like the perfect alternative, one predictable monthly expense, no hassles. I had also convinced myself that my money was safe. I wasn't spending recklessly, just enjoying the retirement I had earned. I thought I had done everything right. But what I didn't realize was how quickly things could change. Rent began increasing every year, sometimes by just a little, sometimes by hundreds of dollars. At first, it wasn't a big deal, but over time, those increases started to add up. Then there were the unexpected costs, medical bills, prescription medications, inflation. Groceries, gas, and utilities became more expensive, and suddenly, my savings weren't stretching as far as I had thought. The illusion of a carefree retirement faded as I watched my bank account shrink faster than I had planned. I had believed my money would last, but in reality, I had underestimated how much I would need. And by the time I realized the danger, it was already too late to reverse the decisions I had made. Selling my home felt like the right decision at the time. I thought I was making a smart financial move, eliminating maintenance costs, property taxes, and the hassle of upkeep. Owning a home came with responsibilities, and I wanted to simplify my life. Renting seemed like the perfect alternative, one fixed monthly payment, no surprise expenses, and no need to worry about repairs. I believed I was gaining flexibility and freedom. But what I didn't realize was that I was giving up something far more valuable, long-term stability. At first, renting felt easy. I had a comfortable place to live without the burdens of homeownership. But what I failed to consider was how quickly rent would rise. Unlike a mortgage with a fixed payment, my rent increased year after year. Sometimes it was a small amount, but other times, it was hundreds of dollars more. What once felt affordable soon became a financial strain. Had I kept my home, I could have lived with predictable expenses and avoided the stress of rising housing costs. Then came the harshest realization: once you sell your home, getting it back is nearly impossible. Owning a home isn't just about having a place to live. It's an asset, a safety net. When I sold mine, I lost that security. If I wanted to buy again, I would need a hefty down payment, face rising property prices, and navigate a market that no longer favored me. Renting had seemed like the easier choice, but in reality, it left me vulnerable. Looking back, I wish I had held onto my home longer. Selling too soon left me with fewer options, rising costs, and no way to turn back. What once seemed like freedom turned out to be a mistake I couldn't undo. I never thought I would outlive my savings. When I retired, I felt confident. I had worked hard, saved diligently, and believed I had enough to last a lifetime. My pension, Social Security, and retirement savings all seemed sufficient. I had budgeted carefully and wasn't living extravagantly. But what I didn't fully grasp was that retirement isn't just about how much you have, it's about how long you need it to last. And money disappears much faster when there's nothing coming in to replace it. At first, withdrawals from my savings seemed minor. I took out small amounts for daily expenses, confident I had more than enough. But then came the unexpected. Medical bills I hadn't planned for started piling up. A routine doctor's visit turned into costly prescriptions, tests, and treatments. Suddenly, healthcare became one of my biggest expenses, draining my savings faster than I ever imagined. Then there was inflation. Everything became more expensive: food, rent, utilities. The money that once covered all my expenses no longer stretched as far. I had planned my budget based on past costs, not realizing that prices would keep rising every year. As my living expenses grew, my savings shrank, and I found myself in a position I had never expected, struggling to make ends meet. The scariest moment was when I did the math and realized that if I continued withdrawing at the same rate, I would run out of money. The cushion I once felt secure with was disappearing, and I had no way to replenish it. I had spent my life planning for retirement, yet I hadn't truly understood the danger of outliving my savings. And by the time I recognized the problem, it was already too late to fix it. Looking back, there are so many things I wish I had done differently. The biggest regret? Selling my home too soon. At the time, it seemed like a smart decision. I thought I was freeing myself from maintenance, taxes, and the burden of homeownership. Renting felt like the easier, more flexible option, one predictable monthly payment with no surprise expenses. But I failed to realize that a home isn't just a place to live, it's security. Owning property means having something of value, something that can provide stability even when money becomes tight. Once I sold my home, I had no safety net. And when rent started rising beyond what I had budgeted for, I realized too late that I had made a mistake I couldn't undo. I also regret not being more cautious with my spending in the early years of retirement. I wasn't reckless, but I was comfortable. I traveled, dined out, and enjoyed my newfound freedom without fully considering how long my money needed to last. I underestimated inflation, medical costs, and the reality that my savings wouldn't replenish. If I could go back, I would have been more disciplined, spending less in the beginning to ensure I had enough for the later years when expenses became more unpredictable. Another mistake? Assuming I could always adjust if money got tight. I thought I could downsize again or cut back later if necessary. But by the time I realized my savings were shrinking too fast, my options were limited. My health had changed, my ability to work was gone, and I was no longer in control of my future. If I had planned differently, I could have protected myself from this uncertainty. Retirement isn't just about enjoying life. It's about making sure you never run out of choices. If there's one thing I've learned, it's this: think twice before selling everything. I believed I was making a wise, practical decision by downsizing and eliminating the responsibilities of homeownership. I thought I was freeing myself from financial burdens, but in reality, I was giving up my greatest source of security. A home isn't just a place to live, it's an asset, a financial safety net, and a foundation for stability. When I sold mine, I assumed I could always find a new place if needed. But what I didn't realize was that once you let go of homeownership, getting it back is almost impossible, especially when rent keeps increasing and savings keep shrinking. Retirement is unpredictable. No matter how much you plan, expenses will always be higher than expected. Inflation eats away at your budget, medical bills pile up, and rent increases beyond what you thought possible. If you've sold your home and spent too much in the early years, you may find yourself in a position where you no longer have the means to afford a comfortable life. The mistake I made was assuming that my financial situation would always be stable. I didn't fully consider how fast money disappears when there's no income coming in. If you're approaching retirement, hold on to your assets as long as possible. Keep your home if you can, or at least make sure you have a backup plan before selling. Don't assume that renting will always be the easier option. Don't believe that your savings will last forever. And most importantly, don't rush into decisions that could leave you vulnerable later. Retirement should be about security, not uncertainty. Once you sell everything, you may find yourself with nothing left and no way to go back. If you're nearing retirement or already in it, I urge you to learn from my mistakes. Before making any major financial decisions, especially selling your home, take a step back and think about the long-term consequences. It's easy to get caught up in the excitement of a stress-free retirement, believing that downsizing, renting, or liquidating assets will make life easier. But the reality is, once you sell your home, you give up stability that may be impossible to get back. Before you make any irreversible choices, ask yourself, do I have enough to last for decades? Am I prepared for rising costs, unexpected medical bills, and financial uncertainties? If the answer isn't a confident yes, then it's time to reconsider your approach. I also encourage you to be cautious about spending in the early years of retirement. It's tempting to enjoy the newfound freedom by traveling, upgrading your lifestyle, or simply indulging in the things you didn't have time for before. And while you deserve to enjoy your retirement, remember that every dollar you spend now is a dollar you might desperately need later. Budget carefully, plan for inflation, and make sure your money will last as long as you do. More importantly, I want to hear from you. Have you or someone you know faced financial struggles in retirement? Have you sold your home and later regretted it? Or did you find a way to make your savings last without sacrificing security? Your story could help someone else make a smarter decision before it's too late. If this message resonates with you, leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Let's start a conversation so that others can avoid the same mistakes. And if you found this insight valuable, support this content by liking, subscribing, and staying connected. The more we talk about these realities, the more we can help others prepare wisely. Retirement should be about security, not survival. Make sure your choices protect your future. I thought I had planned everything perfectly. I worked hard, saved diligently, and believed my retirement funds would last. But now, every month, I face a heartbreaking choice: buy food or afford my medication. The numbers in my bank account shrink faster than I ever imagined, and the cost of living keeps rising. Groceries, rent, utilities, and medical expenses eat away at my savings, leaving me with little room to breathe. I never thought I'd end up here, struggling to survive. If you think your savings will last forever, think again, because once it's gone, there's no going back. Before we go any further, I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, are you truly prepared for the realities of retirement? Have you accounted for rising costs, unexpected medical bills, and the possibility of outliving your savings? Because once the money starts running out, the options become painfully limited. This isn't just a story, it's a warning. And if you're not 100% sure that your savings will last, you need to hear what comes next. Stay with me, because the choices you make today will determine your future. If this message resonates with you, like, subscribe, and share your thoughts below, because together, we can prepare before it's too late. Many retirees enter their golden years with a false sense of financial security. They assume that decades of saving, a pension, Social Security, or even an investment portfolio will be enough to sustain them for the rest of their lives. In the beginning, everything feels manageable. There's enough money in the bank, and expenses don't seem overwhelming. Many even allow themselves to enjoy the first few years of retirement, traveling, eating out, and indulging in hobbies. After all, isn't this what they worked so hard for? But the harsh reality sets in over time. The money that once felt like more than enough starts to shrink, faster than expected. Withdrawals from savings accounts become routine, and there's no new income coming in to replace what's lost. Small, manageable expenses suddenly grow into serious financial burdens. A rise in property taxes, an unexpected medical bill, or an increase in rent can be enough to throw everything off balance. The biggest mistake many retirees make is underestimating how long their money needs to last. Advances in healthcare mean people are living longer, but that also means retirement funds need to stretch much further than previous generations. Many assume that if they live modestly, their savings will hold up, but inflation slowly eats away at the purchasing power of their money. The $100 they comfortably spent on groceries a few years ago barely covers the same essentials today. By the time retirees realize that their financial cushion is disappearing, it's often too late to reverse their decisions. What felt like financial freedom at the start of retirement slowly turns into a daily battle for survival. And the scariest part? There's no way to turn back time. For many seniors, the rising cost of living is one of the biggest threats to financial stability. What once seemed like a comfortable retirement budget quickly becomes inadequate as expenses climb higher every year. Inflation eats away at fixed incomes, leaving retirees struggling to afford the basics: food, housing, medical care, and utilities. The money that once covered everything now barely stretches to meet essential needs. One of the most significant burdens is housing costs. Rent increases every year, and for those who have sold their homes, this creates a dangerous financial trap. A mortgage eventually gets paid off, but rent never stops, it only rises. Many seniors who once thought renting would be more affordable now find themselves facing rent hikes that force them to move or sacrifice other necessities just to stay housed. Then there's the skyrocketing cost of healthcare. Even with Medicare, medical expenses are a major financial strain. Prescription drug prices continue to climb, doctor visits require out-of-pocket copays, and unexpected health issues can result in thousands of dollars in medical bills. Seniors on fixed incomes often face heartbreaking decisions: skip a medication, delay a doctor's visit, or cut back on groceries to afford treatment. The cost of basic necessities, food, gas, and utilities, has risen drastically. A grocery bill that used to be reasonable now feels unmanageable. Electricity, water, and heating bills keep increasing, leaving many seniors struggling to keep their homes comfortable. The reality is clear: retirement money doesn't go as far as it used to. Without new income sources, many seniors are left wondering how much longer they can afford to survive as the cost of living keeps climbing. For many seniors, retirement was supposed to be a time of peace and security, but instead, it has become a constant battle of hard choices and painful sacrifices. With rising expenses and fixed incomes, many older adults are forced to make decisions that no one should ever have to face, choosing between food and medicine, skipping doctor visits to save money, or turning off the heat in winter just to afford rent. One of the most heartbreaking realities is that many seniors are forced to cut back on meals just to stretch their limited funds. Grocery prices continue to rise, and what used to be an affordable weekly shopping trip is now a stressful financial burden. Some older adults resort to eating less, skipping meals, or choosing cheaper, less nutritious foods because they simply can't afford fresh produce or protein-rich meals. Malnutrition becomes a hidden struggle, slowly weakening the body and making health problems worse. Medical care is another painful dilemma. Medications that once felt affordable are now out of reach. Many seniors find themselves rationing pills, skipping doses, or even stopping essential treatments altogether. Some delay doctors' visits, hoping their symptoms will improve on their own, only to end up in the emergency room with even higher medical bills. Housing insecurity is also a growing problem. Some seniors are forced to downsize, move in with family, or even face eviction as rent prices climb beyond what their fixed incomes can handle. These aren't small sacrifices, they are life-changing, heartbreaking choices that no one should have to make. Yet for many older adults, this is the harsh reality of growing old in a world where their savings no longer go far enough. Many people believe that if they save diligently and plan carefully, they'll have enough to enjoy a secure retirement. But the truth is, retirement planning often fails, not because people don't try, but because they don't anticipate the realities of growing old. What seems like a solid financial plan can unravel quickly when unexpected expenses, longer life expectancy, and rising costs come into play. One of the biggest miscalculations is underestimating longevity. People are living longer than ever before, which means savings must stretch 20, 30, or even 40 years after retirement. Many retirees plan as if they will only need to support themselves for a couple of decades, only to find their money running out while they still have years left to live. Another major oversight is underestimating healthcare costs. Even with Medicare, medical expenses can be overwhelming. Copays, prescription drugs, hearing aids, dental work, and unexpected health issues all add up quickly. Many retirees don't realize just how much they will need to cover medical bills, and by the time they do, their savings have already taken a hit. Poor investment choices also contribute to retirement shortfalls. Many people play it too safe, leaving their money in low-risk, low-return accounts that fail to keep up with inflation. Others make risky investments or fail to diversify, leading to financial losses that are hard to recover from. Lastly, many retirees lack a backup plan. They assume Social Security or a pension will be enough, without considering how inflation erodes their purchasing power over time. By the time retirees realize their financial planning has failed, it's often too late to fix it, leaving them struggling just to get by. While financial struggles in retirement can feel overwhelming, there are steps seniors can take to protect themselves and avoid running out of money too soon. The key is to act early, be resourceful, and make strategic adjustments before it's too late. One of the most important steps is reassessing spending habits. Many retirees assume their savings will last, but without careful budgeting, money disappears faster than expected. Cutting unnecessary expenses, like dining out frequently, unused subscriptions, or impulse purchases, can free up extra cash for essentials. Small changes add up, helping seniors stretch their funds further. Another crucial move is exploring financial assistance programs. Many seniors don't realize they qualify for food assistance, SNAP, prescription discount programs, or housing subsidies. Organizations and community programs exist to help older adults reduce their financial burden, but many hesitate to seek help. Taking advantage of these resources can make a significant difference. For those who are able, finding alternative income sources can provide stability. A part-time job, freelance work, or renting out a spare room can bring in extra income without requiring full-time employment. Many seniors also consider downsizing smartly, moving into a smaller, more affordable home instead of selling everything and switching to costly rentals. Understanding healthcare options is also vital. Learning how to navigate Medicare, choosing cost-effective supplemental plans, and shopping around for affordable prescriptions can prevent unexpected medical expenses from wiping out savings. Finally, seeking financial guidance early, whether from a professional advisor or trusted source, can help retirees make informed decisions and avoid common pitfalls. By taking these proactive steps, seniors can protect themselves from financial hardship and ensure they have enough to live with dignity and security. The hard truth is that the system is failing older adults. Many retirees did everything right. They worked hard, saved responsibly, and planned for the future, yet still find themselves struggling just to survive. The reality is that the financial safety nets designed to support seniors are no longer enough to keep up with the rising cost of living, leaving many older adults facing financial insecurity, housing instability, and declining health with little support. Social Security, once seen as a reliable foundation for retirement, has not kept pace with inflation. Monthly checks cover less and less as rent, food, and medical costs continue to rise. Many seniors find themselves relying on Social Security alone, only to discover that it barely covers basic necessities. Meanwhile, pensions, once a guarantee for many workers, are becoming a thing of the past, leaving retirees without the security previous generations had. Healthcare is another failing system. Medicare helps, but it doesn't cover everything. Prescription drug costs continue to skyrocket, routine dental and vision care require out-of-pocket payments, and long-term care is unaffordable for most. Without proper financial resources, many seniors skip necessary treatments, ration medications, or suffer in silence. Government assistance programs exist, but many seniors either don't qualify or don't know how to access them. Bureaucratic red tape, complex application processes, and limited funding leave millions of older adults without the help they desperately need. The truth is, aging shouldn't mean financial struggle, yet for too many, it does. The system was built for a different era, one where life expectancy was shorter, costs were lower, and pensions were common. Without serious reform, more and more seniors will find themselves left behind, forced to choose between survival and dignity. If you're reading this and feeling concerned, you're not alone. Millions of older adults are facing the same struggles: rising costs, shrinking savings, and a system that no longer provides the security it promised. But here's the truth: the more we talk about this, the more we can help each other find solutions. If you or someone you love is experiencing financial hardship in retirement, share your story. Have you had to make difficult choices just to get by? Have you found creative ways to stretch your budget or access support? Your experience could help someone else avoid the same struggles. Drop a comment below and let's start a conversation. The more we bring awareness to these issues, the more we can push for real change, whether it's better financial education, improved senior benefits, or stronger retirement planning strategies. And if you found this message valuable, support this content by liking, subscribing, and staying connected. So many people enter retirement thinking they are financially prepared, only to find out too late that they weren't.